Aloha YouTube and aloha patreon.com/Sifu members. Salutations. This is the Dirty Dojo Sifu Z.
Sifu
Sifu
Chad.
Chad live stream. Yeah. Nobody's checked in yet, but we got some folks in. Now that we have, I say we liberally, but now that we have started to revamp the YouTube and Patreon channels, um, yeah, it's actually doing well. That $4 membership is key, and yeah, I'm kind of stoked on the change, mostly because I think one with just one tier, people don't get confused or frightful. Like if they joined like a 20 or a 50 or $100 or whatever, I think I had my highest tier, I think was 6,000.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, or something like that. I forget how much. I'm not so good with numbers, memorizing numbers, and and I would be afraid myself that, like, if you press the wrong button, or if Patreon or your bank doesn't do the right thing, then you kind of it kind of will screw you financially, right? So I like these low dollar tier memberships, and that way, if people want to do Justin, aloha, very good, you're in. Yeah, so adjusting the tier memberships, I think, is really um, made it accessible for everyone to come on in, and then if anyone wants a private from me or you, they can contact and then make whatever arrangements that
Mhm.
are suitable, and they're not stuck with just the Patreon platform. Uh, so I'm I know the words highly overused these days, but I'm excited.
So excited. Look at
Yeah,
this, guys.
there's a comedian that says, he's an older guy, and he says, they use this excited all the time, and at my age, getting excited isn't a good idea. So, yeah, Justin, thank you, and welcome again, face to face here over on Patreon. I'm glad you guys are on the Patreon platform, because it's going to really make it easier to organize the content, and kind of deliver the content that people that are getting involved with the Dirty Dojo here, to cater to those people rather than all of YouTube. You know, and I think YouTube. There might be some music platforms I'm still involved with, but YouTube is the only platform that I'm on right now. Uh, so if you see anybody on any other platforms except for like Bandcamp or something, I think Bandcamp and YouTube and Patreon are my three social medias, and I feel good about that, because man, it is a swamp, it is a dump, it is a trash pit out there in
Yeah,
social media land.
yeah,
Not to mention
it really is.
growingly getting more unsafe. Your information and stuff like that, just being out there on all these social medias. Not a good idea anymore. I know that because I checked my security checkup on Google and was horrified. Uh, eh, you know, it's a shame because I'm going to officially start at 9:30 here, just in case you're wondering when's he going to start. We officially start at 9:30. YouTube doesn't let us start on 30 anything. It's rather 9 or 10 or 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our half hour. I'm going to start the stream at 9 o'clock, and this is actually a good practice when you're streaming. I'm going to start at 9 or turn the stream on at 9, but then we're going to start the training at 9:30. Dang it. Uh yeah, where was I?
Social media trash dump.
Oh God.
Privacy invading.
Yeah,
Something along those
it's
lines.
it's getting pretty bad on the social medias. I got on the disgusting Facebook. By the way, was originally meant to be a dating app.
Yeah.
So that's really icky because everyone's on there usually because they want to keep in touch with their relatives and whatnot. And it was a dating app. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
And of course, the youth pretty much reject Facebook and all that. Hi, let me see what I gotta get my spectacles on here. Um, where are my spectacles? Yeah, starting a little early, starting at 9, or getting a broadcast going at 9, and then are you kidding me? And there we go. And then starting the workout or the training session at 9:30 is good because we can make sure that the stream is working. People can come on board, and we can make sure everything's kind of working okay. Yeah, I got on the Facebook there just to keep in touch with friends and family of past. Grigor, aloha. Next legenda. Ah, mama. Okay, yeah. Grigor, how are you? Very good. This is a stream in respect in bold respect to martial art training. So welcome under those conditions. Yeah, I got off or I got on the platform to keep in touch with friends and family. But man, what a trash dump of a social media, as all of them have become.
Yeah.
We need to use social media to connect, to communicate, to do the COCO, cooperate and communicate, right?
Yeah. Not convolute and operate.
Convolute and casualize.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
that's. Yeah. Everybody. I mean, yeah. It's one of the biggest. It is the biggest propaganda engine right now of information, of important information, and of just absolute ridiculous silly information that you should be occupying your mind with more intelligent information with. It's
Mm,
it,
yeah.
it's a huge distraction to a person's well-being. I think it really is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. It's not like I've ever been a huge proponent of marijuana use. Whatever floats your boat. Um, however, these days, I think whatever edge you can have is valuable, is really valuable. I think when you do marijuana recreationally or otherwise, and this is not for everybody, of course, but most of us humans are alike physiologically, and I can attest to the detriments of marijuana use. Of course, messes with your lung capacity, but sleep, food. Um, however, yeah, that the especially the long term use. If you can be what's that word when you balance stuff? But anyway, yeah, if you
Can
can
we use the
balance.
word resilient? Resilient?
No, no, but there's a word. It's a common word. I won't punch myself for not knowing it. But there you go, marijuana use, right? Uh, um, it really takes the edge off, which this day and age you really kind of need that edge to yeah, to deal with the complexities, the growing complexities of life, the growing complexity of technology, and all of the corruptions that come with modern life and technology and whatnot. Corruption, and we're going to be starting in about 3 more minutes here. Corruption, although we want to abhor corruption, there's something we have to remember about corruption. Corruption is us. Think about it. We were born to be unalive. That's a pretty corrupt thing. Um, any system, any system, once you have been involved in it long enough, you're going to see the corruption, the innate corruption involved. Uh, so, something to keep in mind. If we can navigate that world of corruption on the outside and even from within, I think it will benefit us a lot, especially in our peace of mind, and in not getting jaded. Uh, so anyway, hopefully that's a little bit of information that will be valuable to folks. Of course, there are levels of corruption, Josiah. Although I don't really think your post is appropriate. I will say that the name that you mentioned, which I won't repeat, yeah, so some levels of corruption are pretty out there, pretty out there.
Yeah.
Um, and there's an old saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and money is power, right? So think about it. Everybody wants money. And I use that term everybody loosely, but everybody wants money. And when you got it, you want more of it. And the more money, from my observations as an old person, the more money people have, the more corrupt that they become, the more unempathetic that they become. So there's some thoughts there. I'm sure, hopefully, there are some exceptions to that, but I haven't. seen them. If you know any exceptions to that axiom of absolute power corrupts absolutely, let me know down in the comments below. Now, this is a martial training session. We're going to be training here for probably about a half hour, give or take. The things that you'll want to have for this session, if you don't have them already, is a sandbag, double bagged sandbag. Yes, a loop that you can hang the sandbag. If you can get two of these, that's even better. So you would want 4 bags and some play school sand that you would get at the hardware store because it's sterilized. That's the word. And as soon as I can figure out a traveling situation here, we're going to do a session where we hang the bag, and we're going to show you some very really cool things that you can do with a hanging sandbag. But for this purpose, for today's purpose, for most of our training sessions, just a single sandbag will do. This is also a drinking show, so be sure to bring water. That's just a life advice. Carry water around, drink lots of water, stay hydrated. Here in California, regardless of the season, the sun is always robbing us of our hydration. If you live in your vehicle, such as I and sometimes Sifu Chad as well when he's out nomading, you will notice that your vehicle, even with your windows cracked, gets a lot of condensation. That condensation, of course, is coming from you, and it's a good example of how much water you expire. Is that the word? Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, that you release just through your pores and through your breath. So, and the climate being what it is, that's probably more so than ever true, more so than ever. Um, with the sun and the rays heating us up. And there are places such as in Lone Pine where I would literally drink water all day and be very thirsty. The reason that is because the water is what's called soft water, and
Mhm.
it lacks electrolytes.
Yeah, softened water has a lot of salt to soften that water.
The well, the electrolytes. There's a joke in Idiocracy. They they all walk around saying it has electrolytes. It has electrolytes. Well, what are electrolytes? They're they're electrolytes. So, just in case you didn't know, electrolytes are dissolved minerals, potassium, magnesium, perhaps, salt. In fact, if you want to create an electrolyte drink, just get a pinch of water and put it in your pinch of salt and put it in your water, and there you have your electrolytes. Uh, I had to do an emergency pull off the side of the road in order to make sure I got here on time. So pardon the traffic streaming by. All right, so
Can't really hear them too much, so
oh, good, good,
yeah, good on the sound.
good, good, good. The The AirPods Pro 2 are coming in handy today, I suppose.
Yeah, as long as they don't fall out.
Well, I have this on. Hopefully, it will hold it in my ear. It wouldn't hold the one in the right. If I have, even with this on, if I have one in this ear, it will fall out. It will come out. It's mind blowing. I bought a $20 pair of over the ear headphones. They work fabulously. I don't know if they would work for this well. I'm going to probably give it a try on our next stream. But yeah, man, go to one of those discount stores like TJ Maxx or something and pick yourself up one of them $20 headphones. Well worth it. Bluetooth headphones, over ear Bluetooth headphones. Well
Yeah,
worth it. Have noise cancellation on it. Yeah, now I know why I see all these kids with over the ear headphones and going, man, what are they all rich? No, no, no. You can buy them really cheap. And when they die, you could just toss them. Kind of like cigarette lighters or something.
I
Once it runs down.
I have these JLab Sport, and they kind of hook around your ear,
Uh-huh.
and they stay in there. But sometimes it like kind of hurts the back of your ear if you have it in too long.
Right.
But then, yeah, are you talking about headphones like these?
Yeah, there it is. Those are great, especially for Nomad, because when you get like surrounded by people that don't want your existence around, you could just put those on, put the noise cancellation on, and they disappear. Last night I listened to Bach. I listened
Oh,
to Bach. Oh my God, Bach. How amazing. Bach blows my mind, man. But I won't go into that until Sunday.
might I share that I discovered on my 88 Alesis Pro keyboard that there's I can do dual sounds. So I can hook up the vibraphone and then add violin to it, and I can play. Oh, dude, I'm making some weird sounds.
It's a dual sound or split keyboard.
Dual sound, like you
Okay,
hit
yeah, I
a
understand. Yeah,
yeah
two
yeah yeah
instruments at
yeah
once.
yeah 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 yeah.
That's cool. I,
Yeah, I've been
my
making some.
Alesis might be able to do that as well.
It's pretty sick, man. I'm so. You remember I told you like, oh man, maybe I should sell the piano so I have more money. Blah blah blah, yada yada. Didn't sell the piano, and I'm glad I didn't, man.
Yeah,
I've
I'm trying
actually
to
been
hold on to my 80. What is it? 81 keys.
okay. Mine is.
I,
I don't know how big yours is.
it's a full size. I think full size is 81 keys.
88.
88.
88. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Yeah, I've been trying to hold on to mine as well because having a full scale keyboard is quite a luxury in life. You
It
know?
really is. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Not to
I've been
mention,
enjoying it.
I do hope. I tried to pick up reading music. Um,
Mm.
when I first started going full time nomad and whatnot, I figured, okay, this is probably a good time to try to start reading music. And reading piano music is a lot more easier to learn than any other instrument. Um,
Okay.
so, so if you're trying to learn to read music, the piano is the way to go. And then that's when I realized I needed a full keyboard because when you're reading music, and you run out of keyboard, that really sucks. So
Yeah. And you're like, but I don't, I can't,
yeah,
I,
yeah,
uh,
you pretend to play the note. Um, but then, all things considered, that huge keyboard and its case took up so much space that I kind of had to put that whole plan on hold. But I do hope to get back into, just for neuroplasticity sake,
yeah,
uh, get back into learning reading music. And not just that, but I love Bach, and Bach is not one of those things that you can just pick up by ear. It's not like Neil Young or
yeah,
rock music or something.
right. There's
You
so
really
many
need to know
different,
what those notes are in order to
right,
play Bach.
yeah, and how they like go into each other, how the notes follow each other. I guess I could say, perhaps.
Ugh. All right, and the sun is coming out.
Dude, it is.
Okay.
It's been minus degrees out here for the past week, and it's gonna be minus degrees for a couple more weeks.
Wow.
Between minus 20 and minus 2 or something like that.
That's incredible, man.
And I'm gonna go up and snowboard later after this. Well, I got some
Yeah.
academics to do real quick, and then I'll head on up there. But yeah, after I found afternoon sessions are kind of where it's at because everybody that goes up there for the morning hype, they all get up there and they get down by noon when they have their break of booze and beer and French fries and overpriced bagel snacks. And then you get 3 hours all to yourself.
All
Yeah,
right. Now, we usually do about 10 minutes of the sandbag. You don't want to hit it hard. Don't hit it hard. I wasn't hitting it hard, and I still was probably hitting it a little harder than I should. It's very easy to get zealous when you're punching your sandbag.
I know,
I've
right?
been doing Wing Chun for, I don't know, 60, 70 years, something like that. And to this day, I still get overzealous punching the sandbag. So yeah, I can even feel like, yeah, that was a little too hard. So just watch that. You're trying to develop your fist over time through repetition, not through brute force.
Right.
That's our Wing Chun way. Our Wing Chun way. Even Chris Chan doesn't do it that way.
I would always tell our former students to not hit the bag hard. It's like if you hit it until your knuckles are bleeding, you're doing it wrong.
Oh yes, yes.
Sure
Especially if
enough,
you
like
like, yeah, if you like to use your hands, if you're a musician or an artist or a writer or any of that. you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I'm not quite sure what professions where you don't need to use your hands. Maybe a king or queen, but then you don't need to do martial arts. Probably you just have armies and whatnot. All right, so the next portion of this session, pretty much we repeat ourselves unless we have some sort of requests or if we have a lot of activity in the chat session, where perhaps they're sharing a martial exercise. But there are three martial exercises that I feel you should do at least every week. And since we do this stream every week, you're pretty much going to see us doing these three exercises. Um, And then if you want more Wing Chun or martial exercises, and specifically if you want more like jujitsu style or Wing Chun exercises, drills, stuff like that, you can always join us over at patreon.com/SifuZ, where there's only one tier. It's $4 a month, less than a cup of coffee. So there you have it. You're welcome. But we go much more into the traditional Wing Chun system over there, and also other styles, more intensified martial exercises. And as the spring and summer come upon us, you're going to we are going to be engaging in more of those styles of exercises, even here on the free public channel, and uh and certainly on the patreon.com/Sifu Z site. We're going to go much more into it. The weather tends to restrict a lot of the things that we'd like to do. Not today, of course, but oh,
Oh,
I thought you
I
were
wasn't.
saying
I wasn't
something.
speak. I was just kind of laughing in confirmation about how weather sort of, you know, challenges us at times on what we'd like to do.
Yes, but there are these three exercises that we do, and you could do these exercises every day, perhaps at least every other day if you like. One is the sandbag. Your first point of contact with an adversary more than likely is going to be your hands, um, or your feet. But you better have your balance together if you're using your feet, um, or you better have your grappling together, because you're lifting one foot up off the ground pretty much takes away a great amount of your balance. So in Wing Chun, we're typically taught, in most Wing Chun schools, we're typically taught not to kick, uh, because you tend to wind up on the ground. That's also why I like to restore our chin na, or jujitsu or grappling, however you like to call it. Because if you do wind up on the ground, then you know what to do. However, we'll kind of stick with the typical Wing Chun approach here. Yes, your hands staying nice and balanced, and having your hands out in front to interrupt any incoming punches is a pretty wise thing to do. So, our sandbag is the one of the three exercises that we just did. Number two is your striking, or rather, your fist placement. I think we've been calling it fist placement more than punching
Yeah,
right now.
this placement sounds sounds better actually.
Yes, and it's more
Especially,
precise.
yeah, especially when you're considering the precision of the punch. It's not just throwing a punch; it's placing your fist in a specific area.
Right. And so that's another important element of what we do that should really be drilled in. It should be a very intuitive, second nature sort of thing, is to place your fists or your palms or your elbows in the right place. You don't want to be thinking of that in the midst of a confrontation. They should pretty much come up, you know, Here's a little tip. This might be better. Reason being, if there's a knife involved, you don't want to expose this part of your arm. If there's a knife involved, you can survive slashes from the back part of your arms and fist, but the front, no good,
No
as
bueno.
Mr. Miyagi would say, I
Yeah.
think.
It's interesting how the human body evolves to have the arteries on the inner parts of your limbs and the stronger parts on the outsides. It's
Yes,
interesting, right?
yes, our biology dictates these movements, these situations.
Indeed.
Uh, so we're going to do a little of that training, introduce it to you. Again, I should have blinking text going on here, but I'm not on OBS yet. And that is train at your own risk. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. And the third exercise that we're going to do, and we'll probably do every week, that is kicking. Now, the kicking, again, a better word is leg or foot placement. But being able to, and also using this as a method of establishing balance. In fact, I would say that this is more about balance than anything else, right? Being able to balance on that one leg, because if you have really good balance, then this does kind of give you a little extra between you and your adversary. Your arms aren't as long as your feet, or at least
Yeah.
most people. Right? So if you can get you can get more space by putting your uh, putting your legs out. Also using whoever is coming towards you, you can use that as a kickoff point to then back up some as well.
Mm.
In fact, maybe you have to do that a few times in order to kind of get the space that you need, right?
Right.
Before you then engage or start circling or are working your game plan.
Right.
In self-defense, attacks typically happen without you knowing. If you knew the attack was coming, you could probably get away or do something. Um, so in most self-defense situations, the attack is coming and you don't know about it. And chances are you weren't cognizant. The word's escaping me right now, but you weren't very aware of your surroundings. One of the best self-defense techniques is being aware of your surroundings. There's a
Yeah.
word, I forget what it is. uh,
Situational
so
awareness.
situational awareness. Thank you, thank you. That's why you make the big money. All right. uh, so oh, good.
There he
There
goes.
it is. There we go. The popcorn. I'm just gonna call these popcorn. My popcorn. Yeah. Um, so being able to put these out, being able to put this out can oftentimes buy you a little bit of time to get your kind of thoughts together, right?
Yeah.
Uh, for almost all my self-defense situations, that's what it's done for me. It's allowed me to kind of go, whoa, buddy, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, what's going on here? And then respond, right? Maintaining distance is the most important aspect of any martial art.
Yeah.
Is maintaining different distance. That can mean getting out of punching range or
Hmm.
striking range, or it could mean closing striking range. But in any case, it's called maintaining distance. So let's start, and I'm going to have Sifu Chad lead us on this. Let's start with some nine punch. We'll get into Kim Yi Ma. If you don't know what Kim Yi Ma or the Wing Chun stance is, you can check out any one of our other streams. Over at patreon.com/SifuZ, by the way, we're developing an extensive video glossary of terms, which I'm going to ask Sifu Chad to help me to populate that glossary, that video glossary. Um, I have a good amount of the terms already up, but I'd really like to refresh that and expand upon the glossary of terms.
Hmm. Okay.
Uh, and also there we are I'm going to say we, damn it. We are creating what over on Patreon is called collections, and those collections are sort of essentially playlists. And those playlists are going to be, of course, the glossary of terms, the live streams, and applications, drills. That's what we're going to start with. And we want to be very exhaustive in these collections, as they call
Hmm.
them. So that way, if you don't know what a term is, you could just use the search function on the Patreon. I'm going to assume that the search function is working properly. Sometimes they don't. On any platform, a lot of times the search function doesn't work because they want to advertise. So hopefully, and I would assume the search function works fine on Patreon. Um, yeah, you can just do a search for whatever the application or the term or whatever it is you're looking for, and we'll have it available for you there. Give us a little time because we want to do it right. And these things take a little bit of time, not a lot of time, a little bit of time. It's going to take a little bit of time because we're off the social medias. I'm using we way too liberal now. We're off the social medias. They're not taking up so much time now, and I'm really able to focus on the Patreon platform, which is very cool. Okay, Sifu Chad, will you please lead us into the famous Grandmaster Chris Chan nine punches? I will turn to the side, and
Okay.
you can be face on.
Okay. 3 sets.
3 sets.
All right, just like the OGs. Okay. 3 breath.
Breaths are in through the nose, out through the mouth, until we get to the third breath. And the third breath is breathing all through the nose.
Hienzao. And we're gonna go 1 to 9, and then 9 back down to 1, and that is 1 set for the people who need a little
We're new.
instruction. And 1, starting with the left, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and close. Release the hands. And third breath, release the body.
Good. We're going to do that. We're going to do 3 sets of those with a little bit of instruction.
Should I have
Make
done that
sure. If you see the side view here, be sure to not do round, but rather straight, one fist over the other, replacing the other. Another good tip on this exercise is keeping track of the count. Precision is the name of the game in Wing Chun. Grandmaster Chan was an engineer. I say was. He's retired now. I don't know if it's always an engineer. Once an engineer, always an engineer, perhaps.
I
But
think so.
he, as an engineer, he really brought a great amount of detail to the Wing Chun system that I really don't see in any other Wing Chun schools. But the precision of the count, an easy way to keep track is odd and even.
Yeah.
If it's even, then for instance, 4, and this fist is out, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's even, you're going to wind up on the same fist that was out. If it's odd, of course, 3, 1, 2, 3, you're going to wind up on the opposite arm. So for those of you that have problems keeping up with numbers, and for those of you that can't count that fast, you punch so fast that you can't count them. Yes, that's a good way to make sure you're staying on cue, so to speak. All right, I'm going to turn over on this side. Sifu Chad, could you take us through another set of these?
Yes.
Second set.
3 breaths. Third breath.
All through the nose.
Yin Tao. Cao Yin. Left over right. Right over left. Single left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift your toes. Every now and then, my knuckles go pop, pop.
What's that?
Every now and then, when I'm doing it, my knuckles just barely graze my pinky knuckle and my index knuckle go fuck. Every now and then.
Yes. Now, and I'm glad you mentioned that. We want to get as close as possible. The reason why his hands are hitting is because we try to get as close as possible without actually touching. Of course,
Yeah.
we try. It doesn't always happen that way. But the whole reasoning is that one of the main concepts of Wing Chun is to occupy center, because you can get punched on the side. You can pivot off of those punches. In self defense scenarios, you're going to get punched. One of my first articles I ever wrote before officially becoming a Sifu was for a magazine called Wing Chun Today. I wrote it under a pseudonym. I didn't use my actual name because I wasn't really a Sifu then. But I was soon to be a Sifu. I like to jump the gun. Yeah, don't do that. Don't follow me on such behaviors. Anyway, I wrote an article. It was a good article though, and the article was I was a very confident Sifu. I knew I was going to be doing this the rest of my life. So, you know, in the same vein, I always say I'm the year older than I actually am. And it's not because I'm lying about my age. It's because, okay, what years is the 18th century? From the 1700s to 1799. That's the 18th century. So in my mind, I always think of I'm in my 62nd year. Just
Of the
like,
17th century? Or.
no, no, yeah, right. Yeah, I am that old. But anyway, maintaining center, because this really is what you don't want to get hit. My article was titled "I Get Punched in the Face a Lot." That's because when I first started doing Wing Chun, well, I'm smaller. My arms are shorter. So when I would get into fights or when I would get into sparring, most people's arms are bigger than mine. So as I come in to try to close the distance, I would get punched. I would always get punched. In self defense, you're going to get punched. That's why you're now fighting, because you got struck and now you're going to start defending yourself,
Mhm.
right? So it made sense to me very early on that, well, it became evident early on that if you're going to fight, you're going to get punched. So the idea is to not get punched square on, right? Getting punched in the sternum square on. Ooh, getting
Ow.
punched in the jimmy center on square on. Ooh, getting punched in the throat square on, right? All those places, not the best place to get punched. If you get
Yeah.
punched on the side, you can actually pivot off of that and use that pivot energy in order to return that energy, let's say, right? So when Sifu Chad is getting his hands really close and maybe sometimes even grazing his own hands, it's because he's trying to really develop that muscle memory of staying very inside. So that way, it's what's called in Wing Chun occupying center line. You don't just want to occupy your opponent's center line, which is way easier than you would ever think, because most people aren't occupying their center line. They're like, all right, let's do this. And they leave all this open, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's so interesting, like the slight nuances and detail that you can see in another person's stance that you can exploit, you know? Because
yes.
they're so fine. They're so little bit. Like it could be as much as like somebody walking, you know, the direction in which your feet are pointing give you the direction in which that person is going. So if they're like, if people are walking like this, you know, with their whole pigeon feet, then they got weight going this way and this way and then this way.
Or bow legged. You mean bow legged.
Bow legged, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to notice the nuances in someone's stances when they're not occupying a center line, and that you can see that they're not occupying a center line. It's really
that's
cool.
right. That is very correct. In fact, it's one of the things that you tend to develop when you're a martial artist, at least when you're a Wing Chun martial artist. But I find this with most martial artists is you become a good judge of character.
I know,
A better word than that perhaps would be a good judge of physiology, right?
right? Yeah, yeah. Or
Um,
body mechanics, perhaps a good judge of body.
yes, observing people's body mechanics when they move. One of my favorite stories is I was in a very busy Costco in Hawaii, and I saw a guy from really far away from the other side of Costco, and there were just all these other people, and some people would say I felt his energy, right? But I
Right.
saw this guy from all the way across, and once I made eye contact with him, I kept kind of glazing over at him and watching him. He kept glazing over at me and watching me. I thought maybe the guy was gay or something, but but whatever. I'll take a compliment. Uh,
You noticed him first,
but
and
it turns out, and this is the lesson that I learned from this gentleman, was that he noticed that I was a martial artist from all the way across Costco. And of course, he kind of alerted me as to what I was seeing because I was seeing something. He was moving different than everyone else in all of Costco. So was I moving differently than everyone else in Costco. So yeah, a martial artist can be finely attuned to people's physiology and the way they move. It really comes from our animal instincts. Prior to learning language and all of that in the animal world, that's how we figure out who are the strong animals and who are the weak animals. Because the weak animals are the ones that we're going to eat,
Mhm.
right? So it was a very, very important skill. It still is an important skill to be able uh, to 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 make that dissertion connection, whatever you want to say. All right, we're not going to get to our Kimi Ma and kicking in this session. We're kind of running out of time, but we are going to do one last, our last set of three before we go over on to Patreon. Sifu Chad, if you will.
Okay. Oh, I remembered the word. The arabesque.
Arabesque. Oh yeah, yes.
I was trying to remember the word as you're because you notice some of these arabesque and it telegraphs
Yes.
a bit about themselves. Yeah. Okay, 3 breaths. Third breath. Heel toe heel. Heels out. Left over right. Right over left. Tight core. Nimble kima. And left out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close.
All right. I will send you the link, Justin. Thanks for reminding me. And for all of those of you that joined us in this session today, thank you for stopping by. And once again, if you'd like to join us, you can do so for just $4 a month. You'll get access to all of the archives from our live streams, which are quite plentiful at this point. And we are constantly adding more and more content that's exclusive to our Patreon members. So thank you, and we'll see you next week. Salutations.